is there still some of me? Is there still some of that energy still in
old
me?
you, relationship you.
Yeah, because dude, the last thing we think is we're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We know we've got some wisdom, and we have obviously tremendous results, but it's still like a learning process. It is such a learning process, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands. I deserve another 100.
Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast. We're the voice you trust when it comes to lust. We are who you hire when she lacks desire. We've got solo cups, maybe a glass or two. We're going to talk about the story about Lake Havasu.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what we've been through. Or
See, this is why I open
I'll
up.
help you.
Yeah.
Whose eyes do I stare into?
Anyone you want, baby.
That was creepy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it Lake Havasu or the river Havasu?
It's called Lake Havasu.
Okay, cool.
But, yeah.
So my rhyming game has continued to be a 10 out of 10, but let's talk about when it began. When I came back,
What?
I'm in that like sing-songy TikTok talking my rhyme
You
and my
can't get
rhythm.
out of it?
No, I can't. Don't want to. Can't stop, won't stop. All right. So we now know how to make our little concoction here.
Don't say we, you. I know how.
Well, you taught me how.
So good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Protein shake and espresso.
Yep. Oh, that's what's in yours?
It's delicioso.
Delicioso. All
I
right.
gotta get out of it too.
Let's all learn Spanish together.
I'm just rhyming.
Yeah.
Well, we want to dive into the pain and the suffering. It's so hard to go back there
because we're in the most goofy,
I know,
laughing, giggly, talk shit energy ever, and I think it's because we're wearing the costumes.
I know. What am I gonna cry on here in a chilly outfit?
Right. But we do want to talk about this shit because everybody looks at us. Not everybody. Hey, do you know there's people who hate us?
I love that. I think it's great. We wouldn't be anyone if no one hated us.
How could you hate us? You know who hates us? Because they ain't us. Hey. Yeah, well, anybody who hates on somebody who's trying to make the world a better place is a real loser of a human being.
Absolutely.
The other people that hate is they want to do good things and they're not. They haven't taken action towards it. And so they start to project that hate onto others. And I think it happens inside of relationships when one person starts to grow and they start to become free. I look at growth, expansion has to lead to freedom. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason why somebody would do anything is to try and become more free. Mm-hmm. Freely, when somebody can freely express themselves, other people don't like it per se because they want to be that freely expressed as well.
Well, they say a lot of things like, "Oh, you're changing, you're different."
Yeah,
and it's because, like, say you're in a relationship and that happens. It's scary because you think that person's gonna leave you instead of like keeping up with them and growing with them.
Yeah. You know, a concept that I've been shooting some ads this week and I can't wait to run them into the market is a woman who withholds sex from her man is a cheater. She's cheating him out of what she sold him. Mm-hmm. She's getting the benefit of his hard work and labor and love and not giving up what she promised she would give him.
Mm-hmm. I think anyone not living up to what they promised to. I didn't know about cheating or whatever, but you're literally like manipulating.
Being unfaithful.
Yeah, unfaithful to your word, definitely. Mm-hmm. So
the reason why I came at that, and it wasn't necessarily original to me, but also me and Garrett were talking about it, is we see a lot of Christian men who are dogmatically stuck because of their religion or how they interpret their religion. They're like, I'm never divorcing her. It's like, okay. You're going to be stuck forever then. Because if you will not leave, there is no leverage for her to actually change. And you are going to stay frustrated until she changed, which means now your dominion, your autonomy, your joy, all the things that you want to experience are now attached to her. That is not the promise. That is not good news.
Like, I can't wait to get into a marriage to act and be like this.
Yeah, or I can't have anything I want in my life unless she is willing to go there, do that, agree with. That's slave mentality. And hopefully we'll be able to really help some Christians break free from this crazy mentality that the only reason I can get divorced is because of unfaithfulness, big air quotes, or we might call these, paw quotes, and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
What's more abusive than saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna be your only lover for the rest of your life, and then I'm not gonna give you any love"?
That's so sad.
It's the saddest,
so
and yet
sad.
a man. And here's what makes me so angry, like truly angry, is this man out of his love for his creator, which is beautiful. That devotion that you want to give to the deity that you love, you will suffer for no reason.
So actually, then that becomes like tainted.
Yeah.
Your love for the higher power now
you're bearing your cross,
Yeah.
which is this bitch you married that won't step up and actually, like, if she actually believed the religion, she would never do that. It actually says in the Bible, I don't know if you know this, I don't know why this has become a Bible study, but it's just this angle that we're taking. Like, I want to help Christian dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing I love about Christian dudes is that, or any religion, Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, the people that follow Christ, or like use him as like their mascot. Mascot's not the right word. Messiah, main guy, savior, is that they have a real deep devotion for him, and they actually feel like there's a calling on their life to be a good steward of this thing called life. I mean, life is an amazing gift. It's what you make of it.
Mm-hmm.
But life, to truly live, is such an amazing gift. And yet so many men are not actually living what God has intended for them because they've misinterpreted this book. So why I like religious men a lot, even Muslims, because they have a devotion to their creator, is they want to do right by their creator, but these particular principles really hamstring them. They can't get where they want because they go, oh, well, my wife won't let me. And it's like, dude, your wife has broken the cardinal sin and she is not showing up and being one with you. The whole reason God gave Adam a woman was that he saw him alone. He's like, this isn't good. Well, dude, a man is good alone, much better alone, without this nagging, dripping, bitchy, non-loving, non-connective wife.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, all right, glitter lipstick, let's get into how horrible of a husband I was, even when I came back. Not necessarily horrible, but there was vestiges, there was remnants of that stench.
Let me get to that.
Let's go for it, Jesse.
Okay. Let me tell you what happened from my point of view. So coming back, I saw the man and I saw glimpses of who you were, who you can be, who is in there, the amazing person you are, right? That doesn't mean that you didn't fall back into, at times, Trevor.
Yeah.
And the Havasu story, we brought it up this morning because we were talking about what we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God, this just popped in my head. I never told you this. And this story of you still making it, this little trip that we went on, overall it was still pretty good, but you slip into you being selfish mostly.
Yeah.
This selfish taker, only you matter attitude. And this Havasu story, well, we were on our way there. We had the kids and Caleb and Jovi, and we were meeting my mom and my brother. And I think my niece and nephew were there too. So it was like a whole family trip. I was so excited. Well, when we get there, you had to have sex.
I don't think it was right when we got there. I don't want to chink up your armor, but it wasn't
Let
right.
me tell my story.
Oh, yeah.
It was within an hour or two of being there, and you were like, I really want to blah, blah, and I'm in my head. I didn't want to say no because we were trying to reconnect, right? We were trying to shed all the old things. And so, but it just became all about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember even after I was like, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
I was still struggling with that because that was the old you. And you never fully went back to the old you ever.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it's like going up a hill, like you kind of fall back into it, or just, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
To fully shed that old you. And this time during that trip, I was like, did I make the right decision? So I never told you the story, but I remember feeling all these emotions, like just really sad.
So this is basically a tell-all.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, I was a piece of shit, dude.
Yeah.
And you're like, are you going to be embarrassed? I'm like, I'm not that dude anymore,
Yeah.
man. I was a piece of shit. I was selfish. I was taker energy. I was like, what's in it for me?
So it's not like you just automatically became the most amazing guy ever.
No.
And it has taken years to shed. Like how we say we learn a lot of things, or we still fall in the trap. We still fight about things. And that's the old you dealing with your childhood or trauma or triggers or even triggers from our relationship and our old relationship that we had. So even since now, like there has been, okay, we got rid of that one.
Yeah.
We got rid of that fight. We got rid of that one. And that just during that Havasu trip was such like another like defining moment, I think, for me personally, to be like,
okay,
like I could call it quits now. Like we haven't gone too far in, like, So.
Yeah, you were. Let me share my perspective now that we've heard yours.
I guess so.
So there we were. We drive to Lake Havasu. We're going to hang out with your family. And there's a couple of your mom was married to a guy right there. He just wasn't that fun to be around. He was annoying.
She was hanging out with him, but yeah.
Yeah, but no, maybe they weren't married.
That
but
one,
he was annoying. Very hard to be around for me. And I think a couple other people might be popping up and I'm like, ugh, they're just not the funnest to be around.
Okay.
So I was having to deal with that. I wasn't the way I am now. Okay. So we get there, we're having a good time, laughing, doing whatever we're doing. And I think at that time, I was also really trying to dedicate myself to being a disciplined man. I was learning discipline. I remember I was reading the book Win the Day or Win the Morning or something like that by Aubrey Marcus. So I was spending some time reading and I thought, well, hey, we're out here on vacation. We're all together, but we don't have to. This was my thinking. Yeah. We don't have to all be up in each other's shit every single minute. We're all here and let's spend some time. And if I want to be a little alone and read for a little bit, I want to be alone and read for a little bit, what have you. But there was a moment where I remember getting really horny. I don't know what you did or what happened, but it was definitely your fault. No. Okay. Well, how can I not be? You're such it was fun. You're a fun person. I'm a human being. You're a human being. And you're my favorite human being. So I remember being horny. I'm like, hey, let's just slip off. And what made you so annoyed was the whole family was there, and I'm like, hey, let's go slip off into your bedroom and do it. And that's not necessarily your thing at all times, okay? No. So you were just kind of like, I don't want to deny this guy. I could tell you were a little like, I don't want to deny this guy. And I still wasn't totally aware of my selfish, me first, taker energy. And I didn't have any of these frameworks that we have now to like identify any of this. So my awareness was very little. And I just thought, dude, like, I'm not afraid to ask for what I want. You've never really been somebody to deny me. But the context, we were just like, God, Keith, what the hell? Yeah. Now I learned now at breakfast that you're like, fuck, it was I don't want to say a crisis, but it was like
it was to me internally, because I remember even going home and you're like, that was such a fun trip. And I was like, there were so many things that I was so annoyed with you about. Yes,
I remember this.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'll call it a crisis. And you're having a crisis inside. I'm like, fuck, has he really changed?
I was torn.
Has he really changed?
Yeah.
And I think that every wife's going to experience that as their guy. This is why we always tell the men when they come through married game, hey, listen, even after the 90 days, I know your desire to be this man who's giver energy, a total provocateur, to have your dials all the way dialed in. You're still going to struggle.
Yeah. And fuck up.
And she's not going to really appreciate, because we call it PTSD.
It really did bring up so much stuff. And even thinking about it, I was like, oh, dang. Now I'm like remembering you, when you said that you went away to go read a book or whatever, I was like, that you're still like not, what are you even doing here? I'd rather you not come then.
Yeah.
Like, don't come.
Yeah. And we've learned that I don't come on a lot of those trips now, because there's things that get you super geeked
Yeah,
out.
and not you, and that's
And I just
fine.
go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've both grown in that. But in that arena, in that area, for sure, you were having second thoughts, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been a process, still a process. We're still learning and slaying demons and dragons that come out of us all the time. But understanding you had no basis to trust that I was a team first guy, giver energy first guy, you first guy. I hadn't had enough track record to establish that. And I kept slipping back into some of the old ways that were causing you. You're like, dude, what the fuck, man? So it's
like even now we say like, oh, I didn't even see that, like the whole water incident, right? Our whole relationship, the whole water thing, you bring in your own water. That was a brand new thing that you just learned on your own too.
Oh yeah.
You know, the water thing.
You're talking about the
taking a sip of my water. I didn't count for a water
Shack
buffalo.
Fancy Stanley.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like we still are shedding our old ways, our old way of thinking.
And what we didn't have back then was the context of, hey, let's have some grace.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the communication skills you didn't have them, we didn't have them, to share with each other, yo, maybe you're not aware of this, but that came off as pretty selfish.
Yeah.
And, man, I wasn't really jiving with that, you know. So we didn't have the tools that we have now. We didn't have the history that we have now. It was pretty fresh. I don't remember how fresh we were back into
I don't
that.
remember either.
Probably 3 to 6 months.
I'd say about 6 months.
Yeah, somewhere in that realm, in that range. But what a retard I truly was.
Yeah.
Even trying to figure it all out. We had none of the frameworks that we have now. But here is the interesting thing. I had best friends that were not local. They were away. I didn't have a tribe of guys that I was in to be able to reflect back. My growth was stunted by not having dudes around me that could reflect back. Hey, do you recognize that you're kind of a succubus? Like, once you take yourself away from direct man-to-man or man-tribe exposure, your growth, it may not come to a halt, but it is severely diminished. Severely diminished.
That's why it's so important to have a coach or a mentor. But how is it for you? We feel like we have to pave our own way in our life.
And
that's what we run into the roadblocks and then create a framework and then fight and then come here and talk about it, right?
Yeah, exactly. What's cool is because we have so many really cool clients that are doing some really cool shit, whatever they struggle with, we go, oh, I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
But it still even causes me to reflect on my life. Is that still in there? Is there still some of me? Is there still some of that energy still in
old
me?
Relationship you.
Yeah, because dude, the last thing we think is we're perfect. We know we've got some wisdom and we have obviously tremendous results, but it's still like a learning process. It is such a learning process, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it. The understanding of we're growing. What eyes are you looking at?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was some of the fun things back then, though, that kept the hope alive for you, though?
I think that we've always, well, not always, that's not true. I was going to say pretty good at date nights. When we had Jovi, no, that didn't. So when we got back together, I think we got serious about that, right? And your intention, you always had good intentions. I always know you meant well. Like, so we started doing, when we got back together, we started pulling up the computer and doing like how well we know each other tests, or what do you love about your partner? So like, you were always intentional about trying to keep this together, trying with me. So that felt good. Because you know how like when they say like old people who've lasted for so long, that one person is done and then one person brings them back, right? And this person's done. Like they're not done at the same time. That's how you don't make it. It's like your person always tries to keep you in. So I think like you and I have been really good about doing that. So you were really intentional. I knew you were never like on purpose hurting me.
Hmm.
And I wanted to make this work. So, and yeah, we did the date nights and we started like hanging out more and being more friends. So, but it was like stairs. It was slow and steady, and not every time it was perfect.
You reminded me of one of the principles that we tell the guys, and it's a principle that are worthy of listening to and like truly implementing in your life. If it's getting better, even slightly,
Mm-hmm.
then time is on your side.
Yeah.
It's time. Hey, it is getting a little better. Now, there's
Mm-hmm.
ways to accelerate that through different models or modalities or understandings. I don't know anything better of growing quickly than truly analyzing where you run into mistakes and having a humble heart to go, what part did I play in this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what part did I truly play in this? So, yes, she's mad and it might seem trivial, but this shit doesn't happen. She's not mad in a vacuum. Like, you're not just mad because you're mad. There's
Mm-hmm.
something that I've done that either triggers you,
Mm-hmm.
but this concept of a mirror, your spouse, your partner being a mirror is one of the hardest things to accept. But once you accept it, you realize it is the greatest path to personal development that is on planet Earth. And maybe that's what this whole point. And then we've talked about what's the point of marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the greatest path to personal development. Now, what the fuck is personal development? A lot of people talk about it. What does it mean? What are you developing?
Hmm.
You're developing a better person. You're developing yourself into a better person, a more capable person, a more highly skilled person. For what? For interacting with the world. Nobody walks on this planet by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you would need any personal development if you were all alone. So what's the purpose and point of personal development? It's to develop yourself into a person that other persons interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it should almost be called persons development. Like you're developing yourself into a person and different skills that you can have that
Yep.
you can go after.
And you're raising little persons
You're raising little persons.
to have little persons to little persons. So
Yeah.
making the world better by doing that.
And when it boils right down to it, this is the crazy thing about personal development that I wish I would have known. And that is, the more developed I am as a human being, the more I'll actually be able to get to experience all of the desires I want. You can't actually truly enjoy a radically fulfilled life if you're a piece of shit human. Nobody would want to hang out with you. Nobody would want to buy your shit. No, like, in
Yeah.
that there's limitations to that second one. But like, who would want to be around you?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the greatest thing in life is the connection. Connection with it's why men will go to war and why kingdoms have fought over the love of a woman and the choosing of that woman.
Wow.
This is why anybody even listens to us. They're like,
Mhm.
I want this woman to love me. I want this woman to love me. I want her to want me. I want her to desire me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole reason why they would invest time, energy, money to figure out, who do I have to become that this woman would love me? And the real answer is, who do you have to become to be a lovable human being?
Mm-hmm.
That everybody would want to love you. This is like the paradox of it all. That nobody seems to get. Maybe nobody. Maybe that's a big word, but I didn't seem to understand that.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about it? What say ye about all this? You agree with all this, or do you see it a different way?
No, I said yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I love our personal develop together. That's what keeps me excited to be here with you,
Yeah.
is our growth together.
You know what we haven't done that I'm feeling like would be so much fun to do?
What?
Like to get 10 couples together
Mm.
and to I want to talk to a dude in front of his wife.
Do you think he'll be honest?
He doesn't have to be. She will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So many people, when they come to our live event, they ask you very simple questions, but a lot of them are, okay, does Keith do this?
I know.
What about that? Because they're saying, is it real?
Yeah.
Is this shit actually real, or is this just, did you guys read 17 marriage books and then come up with the best concepts and then spit it out?
Yeah.
And so, God, that would be exposing for that couple, but boy, the expansion that would happen with them.
That's necessary.
Would be so real. We've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
We've always focused on the guy, but that would be fun.
And film it.
Yeah. It would be so, and couples do this shit all the time. They go to couples retreats. They go to marriage retreats. They do all that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We get asked every once in a while when we're going to do one. But boy, for me, I would see that being the type of thing, because I would not let up, and I don't tolerate guys like when they come to the man cave. I call this the temple of truth. Like,
well, it's so easy to see. It's so easy to see.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Will you speak to that in the way of how men think they're hiding, and yet it's so fucking obvious to other men, but really to women?
Yes. When we do our Married Game live events here, I come in for about an hour and a half. And within, 5 minutes or a minute or someone speaking and the interaction, you can see exactly where they're missing the mark. Sometimes I come back to him like, oh, I'd love to see what his wife is saying about this specifically or that or whatever. I can tell, When they come here in person, it's really, really important because we can just really get down to exactly what is really happening.
Yeah.
And since I was with you for so long and we've been through so many different things, I'm like, I've been there. We've been there. He was like that. You were definitely like that.
Yeah.
So it's easy to see.
Yeah.
They're a dead give it away. Give it away. Am I saying that right? Dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway, yeah.
When they start speaking about a situation, a problem they've had, and you're like,
It's an energy.
It's an energy. It's the choice of words they're using. Is it a taker energy? Is it, it just depends.
I'm going to give you a good example of this. And I want everybody, for all you listeners at home or on the subway or driving or at work or wherever you're listening to this podcast, I feel so deeply for the guys that come into Married Game. I now have a real fighting energy in me for the guy, not to the guy, but like I want to fight so bad for him because I know what it's like to be on the other side of like when it's really amazing. And one guy's wife, I won't use any names. This has happened to a few guys, so it's not like, hey Brian, will you go kick the AC on?
It's hot in these onesies.
Yeah, it is hot in these onesies. It's hot. It's hot being a dog. He comes in the program. The wife hasn't. He doesn't remember the last time they had sex. Okay. He runs a family business. Competent guy. Had some pretty bad junior high junior high humor, which is, big turnoff. Not real present, doesn't really show up, that type of thing. So his wife not being into him is, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's here.
Mm-hmm.
She found out what he invested to be in our program and was not happy. And he goes, I stood in my power. Well, what'd you say? And he goes, well, he said, hey, I needed this for us, and it's already been done, so I can't take it back now. That face you just made right there, that's the line.
I'm telling you, it's a dead giveaway for whatever they say.
And he goes, so, that's what he goes. I stood in my power. I go,
no, sir.
All right. Did you hear what he said? And I said, hey, Coach Heika, what'd you hear? He said the line. He goes, something, because he said a couple other things. And then I go, what was he said?
Yeah.
And he said the line like, well, I can't take it back now. So And I go, does that sound like a man who has the true power in his relationship? And I shared this with
it's
this
like
guy.
he got away with it. That's like what it sounds like.
And I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Ugh.
Which he's saying, it's not my fault, which means I'm not the leader. That simple phrase tells me everything. That one line tells me everything about what's going on in that marriage. This is the stuff we're talking about. And I wanted these listeners at home to understand when we say we can hear what you're saying, that's a great example. When one man says, well, you know, hey, it's like, rewind the tape.
Yeah.
You just gave up your power and you're not taking ownership. No. I'm not accepting this marriage this way. You're damn right I'm investing in a coach to figure out how to become a better man to take control of the situation. Because listen, lady, we haven't had sex in 6, 9, or 12 months. And that's not okay with me. I'm not fucking cool with this.
Well, would they be reaching out to us if that's how they were acting in their life?
No, they wouldn't. But I'm saying, but guess what? Hold on. He didn't hear it.
Yeah.
This is the thing. He went through the modules. He's been in the program for about a month and a half or 2 months. It's an ear. We give you ears to hear what you have not heard. We give you eyes to see what you cannot see. These are the things, because guess what? I did all that stupid shit. So when we're talking about the pain, well, I went through a lot of pain too, not understanding I was literally creating the entire fucking shit show I was complaining about.
Yep.
I was creating it. And that's the thing. That's the greatest thing is what you're the problem, you're the solution means you created this, dude. And guess what? You can create a whole new reality. Another thing that really is a powerful statement that I think is so, it's almost the punchline of everything we do at Married Game. By the way, the book is done.
Yay.
It feels so good. I cannot wait to get this in the hands of every married man alive so he can just see things differently, hear things differently. Holy shit. And
can I say something? And
please.
It's so important to, like, possibly for the men if they read the book, but to have this mindset shift to say, I want to go to the Married Game Live event so they can see where I'm fucking up and I can fix my life instead of being scared to be called out or being wrong.
Yeah.
So read the book, join our program, and want to come to this so that we can literally eliminate all the bullshit that you're bringing home.
That's the thing. Most men want to hide their shit, but if they just expose it, we are able to clean it. Yeah. And then they move on without it.
And don't feel shame. Like, we're all human. We didn't have a guide. We don't have any fathers and parents to teach us the right way. Like, they didn't know the right way. So come expose it and get better and be better.
This is the whole reason why we share our shit is to go, oh, yeah. Oh, you did that? I did that way worse than you. We did that too. And guess what?
Yeah.
Here's how to fix it. So you don't have to keep showing up that way. And we had another guy show up at this last event, different guy. And he had some things that were pretty obviously glaring that we can say, well, this is definitely showing up in his marriage because the other guys could feel it and sensed it and heard it and experienced it. And he goes, can I get some honest feedback? What do you and Jesse honestly think? Like I have so much respect for that dude for his willingness to be like, pick me apart because if you don't, I'm going to walk out of here the same way as I walked in.
Yes.
And guess what, dude, his like mind is blossomed. There's things that he's being so honest about the most simplest things now that he's like, eliminate that. That. And here's the really interesting thing. If he would have hid that and not said anything, I would have sniffed it out. I mean, I would have had to say something because I can't let somebody sit in their stuff. I won't let that happen.
Not in our program.
But he now will be set free for the rest of his life. And the reason why people are afraid to admit where they're at is because they're afraid that those people will look down on them. But the truth of the matter is the people that further down the path, and you're like, well done. You decided to take that 80-pound weight vest off and you walk up the mountain without it. Cool. Drop it right here. You don't need that anymore. That guy went from, wow, this guy really is not seeing this shit to he gained my respect.
Yep.
In a major, major
Absolutely.
way where I was like, well done, bro. Well fucking done. And it made me now super empathetic and I want him to win bigger than ever.
Doesn't that show, like, when, like we say in the marriages be fully honest, have those hard conversations. Yeah. Tell me what I'm lacking. What are you lacking? Like, get it all out on the table.
Yeah.
Because you can grow from there.
Yeah.
Like, your marriage deserves that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just hide it, sweep it under the rug, and then leave. That's unfair. If you want it to work out, it's unfair to your kids, unfair to your life. Have the hard conversations. Get it all out.
Why do you think it's so hard?
And then move on.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to have
don't
hard
want to be
conversations?
wrong. People don't mean to be wrong. It's shameful. It's hurtful. It's your pride. Number one gets hurt, and nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But it's so necessary.
What if we made it normal?
Normalize what?
Normalize just going, oh yeah, hey, somebody you actually trust.
Story.
Tell me the story.
So Jovi and I were talking, and I wait for her to like bring up something, and I kind of have like a cute little teaching moment. And she goes, "This boy at school is so hard to talk to. When I say, or somebody says, or even the teacher, so and so, you forgot to do this. Well, this person forgot."
Oh.
And then Jovi's like, "Can you, like, I told you to do this. Well, you didn't do it yesterday." I go, "Baby, that's defensive." And she goes, "It's so weird." So I explained what defensive is. And she's like, "It's so weird a kid does that." I was like, "Actually, kids do that a lot. It's when adults do it and they don't mature. When adults do it, that's really bad." I go, "Someone says, well, you did that yesterday. Well, you did this." I go, "That's defensive, baby." She goes, "Why doesn't he just say, okay?"
Yeah.
So we had a great conversation about it. It was so cute.
Oh.
Why doesn't he just say, okay? I go, "Wouldn't that be easier, huh?"
Yeah.
She goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
"You forgot your homework. Okay, I'm sorry." Like,
to all the adults listening.
She did yesterday. Like, she goes, "He's so hard to talk to. I can't say anything to him. He always says something back."
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah,
but she's recognizing it, and she feels this energy, and she can see that he's hard to talk to. She doesn't have the, verbiage or vocabulary or whatever to talk about it or to say like, this is wrong with him. I don't want to talk to him. But I know now, like, she's going to have such a good life or choose great men because she's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
He's defensive. Yeah. He's not mature and has not grown.
Well, dude, if any guy thinks he's ever dating Jovi, I'm going to be like, you need to watch these modules. Yeah. And then you and I need to do some one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, for real.
And if you don't cut the mustard, then you're fucking out. I don't want her marrying any or being a part of any Trevors. It's
he's going to be right under.
Here's what we're going to normalize. It's okay to fuck up and not know. Remember how they said there's no questions, there's no stupid question?
Yeah.
Nobody believes that. Everybody feels stupid asking a question because they're supposed to already know this by now. That's
silly.
What's that?
That's silly.
It's here masculinity is saying I'm comfortable enough in my skin to tell you where I'm at and where I want to go. And if I don't know how to get there, I'm going to ask the question on how to get there. That is masculine. That is amazing. That is the guys that show up to married game going, all right, dude, I remember the whole reason I hired my first real estate investing coach. This was the true, this was the line that came out of my mouth. You have what I don't. I haven't been able to figure it out. You clearly have. Will you show me the way?
Wow.
That was it. That was the whole reason I gave this dude $28,000 to learn how to do this thing. Because I was in a situation that I didn't want to be in anymore. And I hated the situation I was in. I was so trapped. What?
Yeah, that's where it starts.
It is. You start to feel, that's the other thing. And another thing. The other thing is people go, that frustration of hating where you're at, which is why a lot of guys tuning in this podcast are like, dude, my marriage is fucking gay, dude. I want something. I want what I'm seeing on Instagram. I want what's real. What is going on around here? That frustration is to lead you to forward motion, to figuring out action. You have to assess where you're at, and you have to be angry. I'm fucking angry as shit about where I'm at right now. This pisses me off. You have to experience that disgustedness so it moves you forward, but you also have to learn.
That's why I left you.
And take action, yeah. And I was disgusted with the fact that somebody called you a unicorn the other day.
You did.
No. Somebody told me.
Who?
Garrett.
Oh.
He goes, your wife's a fucking unicorn.
That's
I go,
so
yeah, but I
cute.
had to fuck a lot of horses to find one with a horn called a unicorn. I had to work my way through it. So here's the thing is, so when I realized it, shit, dude, I pushed away the greatest person I've known. Like by every metric. I was like, oh, I done did fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I hired 3 coaches. Let's talk about the pain.
Yeah.
I was in such pain that I was like, okay, how do I get her back?
Mm-hmm.
But more realistically, if I can't get her back, because I didn't think it was actually possible to get you back. I didn't even know there was a thing that you could get your ex back.
Yeah.
That had never.
It's like once you're an ex, right?
It had
Everyone's
never
like,
entered my
it.
consciousness that was even a thing.
Yeah.
Only to go on YouTube and see some guys that were really helping, really
Yeah.
help. So I hired 3 coaches.
How do I get over her quickly? How do I stop the pain?
How do I get her back was the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in that pain, all you're thinking is, how do I get her back? When a guy is not having the sex he wants, he goes, how do I get sex? How do I get my wife to actually want to have sex? The first hurdle we have to get over a man's thing is it's her fault. She needs to change. I married the wrong girl. We have these things, we call it 3 lies that keep your cock in a cage. It's in the book. It's in the new video we got coming out. You know what they are? Have I told you what they are?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm broken. Maybe I'm a pervert for wanting so much sex. And the answer is no. God told you to be fruitful, multiply. It's pretty hard to multiply if you ain't fucking. Second lie is I married the wrong gal.
Yes.
And the real truth is no, you're showing up as the wrong guy. And then the third lie is women just don't want sex that much. And the thing is, no, they want to have sex. They just don't want it with you. So you have to be able to become the guy that actually a woman wants to have sex with. So it's these lies that men have to get over and over and over and go, oh, I had no idea. So all I thought was, how do I get her back? That's all I thought. And then I realized, oh, shit, I need to shift my focus and realize, because, dude, you want it so bad. And then after hiring those 3 coaches, I realized, dude, this is all on you, bro. This is all on you. So then the next thing was, I don't want this to happen again. I didn't know if I could get you back. And in fact, I had moved on in my heart. Do you imagine moving on from you? I know you've had some exes that have had to do it. There's other people that are like, I moved
boys,
on.
Huh?
What's that?
Poor sad boys.
I know.
Huh?
Or what if they're like, dude, I'm so glad I got rid of her.
Probably. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. That way they're not
Yeah.
living in torture for the rest of their life. But that's all you're thinking is, I don't want this to happen to me again.
Yeah.
I don't want to take me. Have you ever heard that statement, wherever you go, there you are?
Yeah. Yes.
It's the truest statement. Oh God, here we go. Anything else you want to talk about? I think this was a fun one.
No, I it's so necessary to talk about the pain, yet so hard to go back. But I know when we start talking about the stories, like it brings up all the more emotions, or like, oh yeah, and this too. It's so necessary to tell people where we've been and talk about the pain because they might be in it.
Yeah.
But we're having so much fun in life, so.
What the biggest one for me was the regret and shame I felt. The regret of like, dude, this one really was on me.
I mean, yeah, your friends were calling me. They're like, take him back. He won't do it again.
Yeah.
No, sir. No.
They're like, you can buy into his bullshit. I'm not doing it anymore.
I was like, no, he's manipulating me. He's trying to send me songs. He's crying to me. No.
Manipulated. Well, I was a liar. That's the other thing is people just aren't honest with themselves.
Yeah.
If you aren't honest about what you really want and you're not angered by what it really is, there's no gap there. There's no gap. So you can't see, okay, hold on, this is where I'm really at. Fuck, I hate where I'm really at. What do you really want? Well, I really want that. Okay. Now what are you going to do? You have to see that there's this gap, that there's a possibility, but no, people just don't know the path to how to get there.
So
and
they're
I'm really
delusional
excited.
and they lie to themselves. And
They lie to themselves. Well, I guess I don't really want that.
I don't want this too much.
And they haven't seen it. They haven't
Right.
seen a good example of it.
Right.
Even people that have been through our program, I've coached them online, and then they come out here, they're like, is this real?
Yeah. They ask a lot of those questions.
How can they not? Name for me. You don't have to.
What?
Name 10 couples off the top of your head right now that you go, that's a fucking great couple.
I just know.
A couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
And we're in the fucking business of it. What is the dude who's running a business up to his fucking eyeballs in stress, trying to keep everything together? Maybe he's crushing his business, but any business is a living organism, and every organism shits. So there's always shit in every situation. And then they come home to more of it. Mm-hmm. And they literally have no idea what the fuck to do.
Vicious cycle.
Stress.
So and anger. Projecting.
Ooh.
And ego. And lies. And cheaters.
Yes. I was the chief liar. Just so full of bullshit. Mm-hmm. So full of lies. And you know why I created them? Because I cared about what people thought of me.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I cared what people thought of me. This has been such a beautiful breaking season this last 6 months of stopping, just to truly just care what anybody thinks. I don't give a fuck. It's I care about what people think in a sense. I want to have a good reputation amongst man and amongst my creator. Mm-hmm. That this is a man of integrity. He's going to tell you, he's going to shoot the truth, blah, blah, blah. He's not perfect. He's going to make a mistake. Everybody on our team knows I fuck things up. I say stupid shit. I do all the fun stuff that everybody does. But here's the beautiful part of it all is there is a path to being like, oh, guess what? Everybody does dumb stuff. Who the fuck do I think I am to be the only one that doesn't mess up? So then it makes messing up and believing stupid shit and doing stupid shit less shameful. You're like, oh yeah, I did that? Yeah. My bad. That sounds like something that's really human. That's what I am. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did that. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. You know what people should do? Quit being a nerd. Spread the word.
You're so stupid.
I know, right? Don't be a nerd. Spread the word. And
wow, that was really good.
Yeah, it really was. Almost harmony.
Wow.
This book's going to get into the hands of every guy. It's all of our principles laid out.
It's so good. It's so good.
It really is. Mm-hmm. I want to sell millions of copies of it because I want to help millions of men.
I love that. I
and
agree.
That energy has been renewed in me like never before this last few weeks. This last Married Game Live event, I just fell in love with these guys, and I fell in love with knowing what could happen to them if they truly got real serious about what does it mean. Who the fuck are you, and how are you really showing up, and what it can really do in their life. Knowing that we know some couples that are great couples, but that's because we're around a lot of great couples because we won't really let anybody else in. And yet these guys are struggling. They have no real life example. This might be, you and I, Jesse, might be the only couple that they go, shit, there's one couple I can think of that actually seems to really like each other and has an understanding of why it actually works. That's such a cool place to be.
They can come see for themselves.
Yeah, they can. So,
that's all, folks.
There you go. Head to marriedgame.com. If you are literally suffering in silence, you have no idea how to get this. I haven't met a guy yet that's open and vulnerable enough to learn that hasn't been able to figure this out. To just use our principles. Now, it doesn't always work out with their wife, but sometimes when there's 8 to 10% of guys that come to our program, as you know, that go, dude, I won't put up with her bullshit anymore. Mm-hmm. They did the program. They gave it some time. They're like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to settle for this anymore. And I love hearing the great, good stories. So, hey, if you have any story that this podcast has helped you, tell it to us. I got a gift for you. And it's going to be really cool. But you got to tell it to us. Like, what happened? Put it in writing, and we might even talk about it on the show. With that being said, keep crushing it. That shit is contagious.